Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here with your Northern Ag TV. Well, cattle futures finished on a softer week-over-week comparison for the first time in nearly 3 months last week. Part of the pressure came from the seasonal sell-offs noted at this time of year when the unofficial grilling season is now behind us and many traders getting rid of their long positions. On top of that, we saw some of the softer cash cattle bids that were somewhat of the factor on that small pullback, along with the box beef values also falling a little bit. Overall, the bids on the board did back off by $3 in that week-over-week comparison, while live cattle futures fell $5 to $6 in that same 7-day window. There is an indication that there's some significant amount of cattle at heavier weights needing to come to the market soon, as feedlots know holding them longer will not be as profitable. Luckily, though, the price dips on the board has not seeped into the countryside demand for the local auctions. On the cattle auction front, we saw more yearlings tests in the market last week, with Torrington on Wednesday finding the prices on the light 9 weights $350 to $355, while their brothers tipping the scale at just over 1,000 pounds. They ran $340 to $344.50. A better test noted on the heifer mates at 700 pounds, with their prices anywhere from $360 to $372. For the yearlings at St. Ange on Friday, it was the 850-pound heifer seeing the largest head count, and prices $336 to $345, with their sisters on an additional 100 pounds, right under 1,000 pounds that is, averaging right at $334. On the sheep side of the sales, well, it is sheep week is what we like to call it, as it's the 97th annual Wyoming Ram Sale in Douglas kicking off that I'll be at. Then also the 100th annual Montana Ram Sale beginning Wednesday night with a U sale and social, and then their centennial Ram Sale on Thursday afternoon with our very own Coulter Brown covering the historic event. Looking back at last week's prices for the sheep, Newell Sheep Yards saw over 3,700 head in their weekly sale of 70-pound feeder lambs, finding their prices at $221 to $242, and 90 to 100 pounders $202 to $212. For the finished lambs at Sioux Falls last week on Hump Day, they did fairly well with the prices anywhere from $220 to $249, while cull ewes 80 cents a pound to $1.15. Bowman Auction also saw big tests of the feeder lambs with 60 pounders topping out at $254, and 80 to 90 pound lambs, or 80 and 90 pound lambs that is, they both averaged right in that low $220 money. Now, consignment delivery method was also highlighted over the weekend for the annual breeding ram and ewe special and all class sheep and goat sale at Pace. One consigner from Yellowstone County fired up his 1947 2-ton truck with a stock rack in the back to bring his herd to town. Looking ahead, we'll also see some of the video auctions soon, with Cattle Country Video Auction holding their Frontier Fall Roundup this Thursday in Cheyenne, then also the Northern Livestock Video Auction on Monday for their 15th annual Fall Premiere Sale, with both having just under 12,000 head to offer in that video auction. Heavyweight markets were once again struggling on the markets last week, with the winter wheat harvest all but wrapped up and planting season starting to get underway. Now, global production is one of the main driving forces as of lately, as many of the countries that is are expected to see a bumper crop. However, this week we may begin to see some of the traders take some positions ahead of the September WASDE report, which is due out by the USDA on Friday, and that is expected to potentially show some cuts on the USDA yield estimates, following a shift to the more difficult growing conditions in the Midwest throughout the month of August. For wheat inspections as well, USDA reported 15.6 million bushels for the week ending of last week, September 4th, which pushes the total marketing year inspections up to 260 million bushels, and that is a 10% increase from the 2024 and 2025 wheat marketing year. Of course, you can find all these prices and much more on our website, northernag.net. For Northern Ag TV, I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.